we go. Starting in the top left-hand corner of Acheron Waste, representing Team Evil Genius. You know what? I changed my mind. Let's go down to the bottom right.
Yeah, Ben. Start off with the reigning champion. Show some respect, okay?
I should know better than to ever speak out of turn. In the bottom right-hand corner of Acheron Waste, the Red Protoss, Captain America himself, it is Liquid Hero. And his opponent up in the top left, wearing his team color there, the blue Protoss player, Evil Geniuses Oz.
And you know, Ben, before we're going to talk about obviously build orders and whatnot, even though it's kind of hard to predict in PvP these days, it's something that everyone knows. Hero has played a crazy amount of PvP in Pro League. Pro League has kind of been coming in like PvP Pro League. That's pretty much what it is. But hey, if we've learned anything of the playoffs so far in Pro League, is that having a good Terran is pretty important too. Either way, Heroes, his PvP looks really rock solid. But what I want to talk just about the group in general is that this is a really funny group. This is the second season of WCS America, but this group already has such a big storyline. Hero was in the same group as Scarlet in the last season, in the second group stage, and Hero played so good. Like, if you remember those games, the way that he dismantled the Swarm hostile, that was really excellent play, just a really cool movement with his army all around the map. Oz, on the other end, had a very disappointing WCS Season 1. I actually thought he was going to do really well, because he was already with EG, was practicing in the pro house, together, of course, under the wings of Coach Park. Well, Ben, anyone who's even nearby or feels the aura of Coach Park immediately gets a lot of ladder points. That's just how it works. I was a little bit disappointed, but in the first group stage, Oz was actually in the same group as Scarlet as well.
That's
Scarlet was in the same group as Hero in the second group stage. But in the first group stage, he was in the same group as Oz, but they actually never played against each other because Oz lost to Violet and then, very surprisingly, lost to State in a PvP.
Yep. State showed some pretty nice games there, upsetting Oz's hopes at going on any further.
You know, I even remember the date of those games. It was on the 7th of May.
Why in the world would you remember that?
Because I remember watching it in the MLG office and my birthday's on the 8th. And you should know that. What is this for best friend? Heartbroken already, day 1 of WCS America Season 2.
If it had happened on your birthday.
Well, that was there, man. I watched it live. Either way, we can already see Hero doing it a little bit funky, man, putting his second gateway behind his mineral line. I'm a little bit surprised to see this. Neither player decided to make a Zealot. Actually, also opening up with a Sentry.
Yep, 2 gate openings on both sides. Mothership Core already out for Hero. Oz getting his a little bit later. Now Oz is going to start chrono boosting out the Stalkers, as too is Hero. I was listening to Frodan coach our intern the other day on some PvP, and Dan was talking about how Phoenixes are, in his opinion, the best way to play right there these days. What do you think about Phoenix openings? Because I know that's a unit that you really like to play with.
I really like to play it, but I also feel whenever I play against Protoss players that are better than me, that they're able to put enough pressure on me, that it forces me to keep my Phoenixes at home while they are expanding already. And opening up with Phoenixes can still be quite susceptible to very early pressure on as well. If not, at least it forces you to play very passive and kind of blind. So Phoenixes is always very good, Ben, but against these guys, I wouldn't really necessarily want to open Phoenixes. Unless you think they're going to open up with an Oracle. But
makes plenty of sense, as we can see both sides just establishing a little bit of map control.
Interesting.
Hero with the pylon out on the map already. Is that another gateway? So
yeah, that's 3 gate and a robo, so Hero is going to put on some serious pressure. Actually, wow, sorry guys, but also was forced to put down the time warp over there just to keep the Mothership Core alive. Ben, it's actually going to fall. This is really bad for Oz because he's planning to use his Mothership Core to keep his natural expansion alive. Without a photon overcharge, there's absolutely no way. Hero is going to be able to warp in 3 additional Stalkers. Wow, this might be a super quick game. Oh my god, he used his Sentry energy now as well for hallucination. I don't see how he's going to keep this Nexus alive.
I don't know if it's going to be possible, and perhaps worse than that, his army is trapped down here on the low ground. A couple of reasonable force fields go down, but this is just not going to make any difference, and Hero already laying heavy pressure on Oz. Excellent micro from Hero, as we always have come to expect. And
come on, Hero, where is that warp in? A lot of his Stalkers are running really low on HP. There we do see 2 additional Stalkers being wiped in. There comes the 3rd Stalker as well, and that 3rd Stalker should be enough to at least keep the Mothership Core alive. He's going to run up the ramp. There are 4 Stalkers against 4 right now. One of them is a little low on HP. It's all going to come down to micro, Ben.
Oh, it is 100% a micro battle. Great control. Hero picks off 2 Stalkers at the same time, and now Oz will once again be forced to rely on his reinforcements. Robo is being chrono boosted. We all know how good Immortals are against Stalkers, so as soon as an Immortal pops out, Oz will be just fine. but you know, he's going to lose this Nexus in the meantime.
Yeah, he's going to lose the next. I actually think if Hero really wanted, Benny wasn't able to finish the game right here because it's 3 gateways against 2.
Yeah, and that Immortal hadn't actually been started when he was up in the base.
He was chrono boosting an empty robotics facility. That's never a good thing to do. But Hero's playing it safe. I mean, hey, we all know that you rather be safe than sorry. Certainly in WCS America, if you're this far ahead and if your name is Hero, there's no need for you to take some risk. Ask realizing that what kind of a situation he's in, Ben. He's going to drop 2 additional gateways and probably just going to try to counter with a 4-gate attack. Well,
yeah, Warp Prism as well. Yeah. So he's going to try to apply some heavy counter aggression, maybe leave you a sentry or 2 up on the high ground.
Like, one thing he could still hope for is that Hero like overextends a little bit, keeps his army here for too long, and that Oz is somehow able to drop enough units behind him and then traps some of these units and then counterattack. This is very, very well, unlikely, and obviously a high-risk scenario, but that is like one of the options that Oz still has to get back in this game.
Immortal and a couple of Zealots making their way across in that Warp Prism. Hero not aware of it as yet. Hero was transitioning nicely, got an observer out and should be scouting his opponent's base right now. And will he piece it together? He doesn't see an Immortal, he doesn't see an observer. Will he immediately realize, oh gosh, I'm being attacked by a Warp Prism?
It doesn't matter too much though, because even if he doesn't matter, he did send the Mothership Core home, and that is also smart. This is going to be actually a reasonable attack by us now already. It's going to be 5 Zealots and an Immortal. That's a lot of units, but Photon Overcharge is oh so good in situations like this. I kind of wonder what Hero's been spending his units on. Oz actually has a bigger army than Hero right now.
Yeah, here comes that first warp in. It's going to be Zealots. Oh man, I think this Nexus is going to go down.
That's actually super smart by us. Warping in those additional Zealots while they were just traveling. Hero doesn't have enough of it. He's going to cast a Photon Overcharge.
It's going to be a very tough defense. There are 2 Immortals out. Oh, cute control there by Oz, but will that be enough? Nexus looks like it should fall. The Photon Overcharge doing some good damage.
At the same time, Oz decided to walk down his ramp as well. He lost the Immortal, but he did pick up a couple of Stalkers. He did force a cancel, or actually he just picked up the Nexus. That was a great little maneuver by Oz. What looked like an almost dead scenario, he completely fought his way back into it.
Yeah.
It was super smart, warping in those 3 Zealots over here, so he had way more units than I thought he was going to have on that side of the map.
Hero's units that were on Oz's side of the map are trying to cross back. Zealots giving him some chase, but great control by Hero will allow him to clean up most of that. Most but not all, as Oz still staying on top of his Warp Prism control.
Hero does have a robotics bay down already, so eventually he might be able to get a Colossus out, and this is a very old school PvP that we are going to see them, but in scenarios like this, Colossus are still king, and are definitely still the unit you really want to have, because Oz just doesn't have the economy to get a real counter against Colossus.
Both players re-establishing their natural expansion. Supply-wise, it's quite close. 64 supply to 56. Hero lost a couple pylons, though, so he hasn't been able to build units in the meantime.
Actually, this Oz is the player. Where's Oz's Robo Bay, man? No, wait, it's Hero. Never mind, I'm getting confused by the tabs. Hero is researching Warp Prism speed, and this is really good. This is some old school PvP action that we're going to see as well. Immortal drop used to be very popular in PvP, and if you wonder like, why is it not that popular anymore in PvP in Heart of the Swarm? It is mostly because of the Mothership Core, because Photon Overcharge can just keep a base safe for a long time. So even when you don't have too many Stalkers to shoot down the Warp Prism, you do have that Photon Overcharge that you can cast, then your base will be fine. And this is actually one of the main reasons why the good old Immortal drop with the super quick Warp Prisms are not that popular anymore.
Crazy follow-up coming from Oz, Kev. He's thrown down his Stargate and is beginning Void Ray production. Oh, but Hero's gonna see it with an Immortal drop. This is huge. Not only has he scouted what's going on, he's gonna threaten to kill this Stargate. Can he bring it down? I think yes, he will.
Oh, if he won't, he's gonna have to be careful. Oh, he will pick up the Stargate and he keeps the Immortals alive as well. Wow, that was sick. I was starting to get really worried for a while, but there was not enough anti-air DPS in the army of Oz.
Oh, this poor Stalker wanted to be a hero. Not going to happen today. Cute control here, and Hero's just going to lift up and get out of there once again. With the Stargate having been picked off, Oz has little choice but to do what? Well, double Stargate. So if at first you don't succeed, try again, I suppose.
Really nice play here by Hero. Picked up a Stalker, picked up a Sentry as well. He's going to pick up this Pylon with the Immortals on the low ground. This is just excellent. This shows that in some way this can still be a very viable strategy if you do it well, if you have Hero's execution. Let's take a look at the worker tab. We can actually see that Oz has a minor probe lead.
Yep, 5 more workers, and you know, I think his Nexus was even up a little bit faster than Hero's, given that he planted it while he was doing that counter aggression. So
this has been such a wild PvP. I haven't seen a PvP play out like this in quite a while, and I still think that Warp Prism counter by Oz was absolutely brilliant. I did not think that was going to work, but that was really well done.
Photon Overcharge is going to be cast, but unfortunately not in range of any of these units. Immortal is going to be stranded. Warp Prism is going to try to get back in time to save him, but no, he will go down. So Oz critically miscalculating a little bit there. Hero still being active with his own Warp Prism. It's being so annoying, picking off outlying pylons and just whatever he can reach.
This used to be the story of PvP, and it was really fun if you were the player who started it to do it before your opponent. Because if you are the one starting dropping first, then your opponent is forced to defend all the time, and it is so hard to catch a Warp Prism when you just don't have Blink, when you don't have any Phoenixes and whatnot.
With the faster Warp Prisms, it makes sense that this kind of thing might be dabbled in a little bit more, might not become the standard, but certainly worth revisiting.
Yeah, it's also situational. Like, it's something that can still work. This was a perfect scenario for it. But like how in the old days in Wings of Liberty, every now and then you just had players open up with it and go for it immediately. And that is not the case anymore, because like the standard one base robo plays are not popular anymore. So people in general have an answer to it. And above all, the Mothership Core should shut it down. But hey, there's always some pylons which are a little bit out of position.
Now, what I'm curious about is whether or not Hero realizes that Oz is still going for those Void Rays. He killed that initial Stargate. Well, yeah, okay, so he does know. He's seen the double Stargate. So he should be preparing at least somewhat for this mass Void Ray play.
I mean, these guys should know each other pretty well as well, of course. I mean, they've been playing not for the same team, but for the same organization, at least in Pro League for quite a while, sharing the same house. So I can only imagine that they've played quite a few PvPs. And on that point, it almost is all about mind games. You know what each other, you know what your opponent likes to do. He knows what you like to do. So how are you going to switch it up by then?
Hero using his Sentry energy still to work for him, dropping some hallucinations here and there, and Oz is going to take that third base much faster than Hero. Makes us think Hero might be going for a big two-base attack as he is moving out. A couple Archons in the mix.
Army supply is very even. Oh my god, that Warp Prism really has to stay alive. If not, it would be terrible. Void Ray is a little bit out of production.
The Immortal's doing a great job of hammering away. The Void Ray's in a terrible position. Oh,
sick pickup.
Fantastic control by Hero. Hot pickup, forcing Oz to use the recall to just go a few steps further backwards. I don't know if it's going to matter, though, Kev. Hero's got so much more army than Oz at this point.
No, he does, and I don't think there is energy for Photon Overcharge either. There is for one, but he lost 2-3 Void Rays already, and Void Rays are amazing, but only in a certain amount, or when they hit that crucial number. Ooh, has to be careful with this Warp Prism now as well. There are still Stalkers and Void Rays, wow.
But look at what keeping that Warp Prism alive allows Hero to do. Now Oz has got to respond to attacks in two different places. Zealots in the back. The main army is going to push to the third, and Oz, how in the world are you going to defend this? I don't think there's an answer.
No, I think there are enough stocks to deal with anything that Oz can possibly throw at Hero. The Archons are there as well. Void Rays are dealing a crazy amount of damage. The Colossus will fall this time. The stock's a little bit out of position, but Hero does have Blink. He can Blink on top of this when he feels it's safe, and I think he does feel it's safe right now.
Yep, ultimately a much better concave, a much larger army, and altogether better execution. Fantastic game one out of Hero. Good game gets called. And Oz is